entertaining podcasts I listen to. I don't listen to many. That one, Francine, it's a different point of view. It's a female point of view, but someone who's been through the hardcore wars.
Yes.
So what Francine has to say to me matters and is important. And there are two guys up in New York, Monte and the Pharaoh.
Mm-hmm.
I find them hugely entertaining. I find them fun to listen to. But those three are the only three podcasts really other than, the PW Insider stuff that I listen to at all.
All right, welcome back to Long Island's #1 pro wrestler broadcast. Monte The Pharaoh, still not in studio, but still on a Saturday night where we've got Shelly Martinez, one of the greats. Thank you for joining us on a special Halloween night, my friend.
Thanks for having me. Oh my goodness. I am still affected by the last time I hang out with you fellas, like to this day. So I'm so excited to see where today's show goes because I'm still affected from that last time.
We are too, and I couldn't wait to have you back on. And I think this is going to be crazy tonight. So let's see what we got lined up. But first, did you just get an LA wine to you? Hold on. Got a little something here. So joining in with you.
Cheers, fellas.
Yeah,
cheers.
And if I like to do I count too?
Yeah, you can do.
Yeah, absolutely. I do. Hold on. Hold on.
Oh,
Hold on. Okay, ready? Okay.
Yeah. All right.
You know what?
And all that other good stuff.
Wait a minute. That's pretty close to when I was in the military, Shelly, when guys used to smoke and eat, right? They used to like take some food and then smoke a cigarette. How gross is that? Come on now.
I've done that. What do you mean how gross? After a gig?
Eat and smoke?
After a gig at the diner? After a gig at the diner back in the day when we could smoke in a diner? Yeah, I did. I'm weird. I admit it.
Shelly, did you ever smoke cigarettes?
Ugh, no. The closest I've ever gotten is when I used to do blunt wraps here and there.
Okay.
Like I used to love a good blunt, okay? But then when I started doing research on how, because I became a vape girl before vaping was cool. And when I say vaping, I don't mean or nicotine vaping. I mean vaping the cannabis in little devices like this, or back then they were way bigger. So when I got educated on vaporizers and how beneficial it is to your health, not just the high, that's when I realized how bad tobacco was. Tobacco is wacko, fellas. And that's when I gave up the blunt wraps. And it sucks because they have those blunt wrappers that are tobaccoless and they're flavorful, but they're so hard to roll. And I'm a good roller. And so there's that. And then I am such a pothead, for those of you who don't know potheed. I hardly ever turn down a session, but I would turn down a session when people would put the tobacco in it. And I didn't know about that until when I was living in Kentucky still. I lived in this house with a bunch of boys, and one of the boys that lived in there was Santino Marella, and he's from Canada. And so his homeboy, Big George, came and stayed with us for a while, and he's the one that did the spliffs. And that's when I was like, I can't. I don't care how bad I want to smoke right now. I can't. And I think not only because of the obvious, but I grew up in the 80s and my dad was a chain smoker. Like we were in the restaurants, we were in the smoking area, and then when my parents split and my sister and I would go visit him, we'd come home reeking as if we smoked the cigarettes. So that really icked me out, especially being a girl, that really, really icked me out. So I've always been turned off by cigarettes.
Mike, I
So-
see a parallel because I know you had a heavy smoker in the family, and maybe that's why you're. It's weird though, Mike. You do like a good cigar, though, correct?
I do like a good cigar, but again, it's mostly summertime. But I definitely could have a nice glass of wine and a cigar in the backyard
A
or at a
nice
bar.
cigar. Oh, you're killing me right now. It has been years since I've had one because of this, fellas, because of what we're talking about here. I loved a good cigar, and I know I talked about this last time with you fellas. I love old man river types, and those old man river types, they always knew where the good wine is, what it is, and the good cigars and how you pair them. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Shelly, I got to ask
Connoisseur
you
over
because
there.
you're a
Yeah.
wine drinker like myself. In fact, one of our sponsors, Good Fucking Wine, nice little house wine, right? Very, very, very nice taste. But when you get a very expensive bottle of wine, forget the expense. You can definitely taste the difference in a really sharp glass of wine, right?
Dude, because here's the thing. I didn't become a drinker or a medicator until I was about 25. And that was because wrestling, and I was in OVW, and I was around these types of wrestlers, and then I went and on the road, and then I was around all these people. And then when you have someone like a Ric Flair who knows his wine,
Mm.
I learned from the best. When one of the people that is the reason why I medicate is RVD, he knew his cannabis. So
Sure.
I didn't do it for until 25, and then I was with the cream of the crop people. I didn't start with the dirt weed. I didn't start with the crap wine. I was over there
No
drinking with Ric
seeds.
Flair.
No
So
seeds. No seeds. No stems. Gotcha.
Yes,
are you a weed snob and a wine snob now?
kind of. But here's the
Oh,
thing.
weed snob.
The weed snob, it's gotta be real bad. It's gotta taste like chemicals, like that bad, dirt weed,
Right.
for me to be like, "No, I'm not too much," because as 'tis the season, a friend with weed is a friend indeed. I don't care if you got some weed, okay? If it gets us there, and I've had some cannabis that looks bottom barrel, tastes like crap, but got me so medicated, man. So I don't discount whatever. But if it has this, there's this, it's like when it's real bottom of the barrel, it barely even gets you high. So it doesn't even count.
Right.
And it tastes like this, like a penny almost, I feel.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
when I say, no, I'm sorry, can't.
It's like an old sock or a shoe, and you wind up with a headache, wondering why you're not hungry.
Ugh, it's
Yeah.
terrible.
Yeah.
Well, wait,
With
wait, guys, I have a question, right? Because I don't smoke weed. All right, it's just
Right.
not my thing.
Yeah.
I totally understand the benefits from it, and it's weird how life has changed because it's like if more people smoked weed, we'd probably live in a better world. But
Agreed.
that
Yeah.
being said, isn't it gross like sharing, like smoking, like we don't know each other. I'm smoking a joint, like here, hit one. Isn't it? It's like ugh, you're like basically
Okay.
Well, we're not.
swapping spit, right?
We're not French kissing, and you do have to trust that somebody doesn't don't bogart and slobber the joint. But what's your thoughts there?
Okay, so just backtracking just a little bit. With the wine, um, so I started with like the cream of the crop, right? And then I got fired, and then I became a broke ass. And I remember Francine. You know what she would tell
Black
me
box.
when I would call Francine crying? You know what she would say? Because I didn't know what to do. I moved back to California. I just got fired. This was in between me getting hired with TNA. That wasn't even on like a thought yet, right? So I was like super depressed. I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I'd call Francine crying all the time, and she would say, "Do you have $10?" Yep. Okay, go to the liquor store, get yourself some Arbor Mist, drink some Arbor Mist. Now, for those of you who don't know what Arbor Mist is, it's a very, very bottom shelf kind of wine. I think it's only like 7% alcohol content, maybe. So,
Maybe.
anyways, that's what I would do. And then it got me through it, that damn Arbor Mist and medicating, And then when I got hired with TNA, I got invited to more things here in town because I was on TV. So even though I was a broke ass, dude, I was eating good and I was drinking good and I was smoking good because people thought I'm on TV still. So they're inviting me.
Right.
And that's when I realized the difference between Armor Mist and what I was drinking over here with these like bougie entertainment people. And then that's when I realized it took less for me to drink with the good wine than the Arbor Mist. And being an athlete and an actress and a model, that's less calories for the waistline.
Mm.
So then I realized, oh, not only does the taste completely change, not only does the buzz change and how quickly I can get it, but now I have to drink less. I'm on board. I'm on board with this. And so that's when, like you say, a sharp wine. Yes. And I'm one that I like it real. I don't like sweet wines again, because I was always worried about the waistline. So I don't like sweetness so much. So I've taught myself that. So I like a good, like, yep, give me that, like, oh, that's why Zinfandel's my favorite. So going back to sharing the joint, when I first started medicating dudes, I was like, my world has changed. Everyone's awesome. So anyone that was a medicator, I trust.
That
This
didn't
is
work that
so
way for
gross.
me.
This is so gross. Well, I was 25, so I was a late bloomer. This is so gross. When I moved back to California and I was over here smoking the medical, there was a dude on Hollywood Boulevard and I was smoking my joint. And then he goes, let me get a hit of that. And I gave it to him. He hit it. I thought nothing of it.
Ooh.
Uh-oh.
So what you're saying, that's disgusting. And I didn't think
Got a wet
anything of it
napkin
at the
back, huh?
time. I didn't think anything of it because cannabis was such this positive thing, mind, body, and soul for me. And then I found that even if I medicated with people who typically I wouldn't hang out with, or maybe I kind of don't like, I would end up at least leaving the situation with like people I didn't like with kind of closure to it. And I thought that was cool. So I thought of it, I saw how communal it could be. So when that dude on Hollywood Boulevard, who the F is he? Oh my God. And I did that and no problem. And then there's been times where I've been on Hollywood Boulevard because I used to live near Hollywood Boulevard. So it was very stressful. So I was all broke ass living on Hollywood Boulevard. And then there would be people smoking and I'd have nothing and I just need one hit. And I'd be like, dude, can I just have a hit? So I was also that person to go, the hot girl going, dude, can I just get a hit? Of course. I don't know
you're
these
getting a hit.
people.
Yeah.
I don't know
getting
these
a hit.
people. It's disgusting. So now, much like with the wine, some could say that I become a snob because that's how I used to be. Whereas now, ooh, if I don't like you, I have to rethink if I'm about to smoke with you.
Right.
Because I don't know about that. I don't know about that.
No.
I don't know about that. And I'm not going up to a random person. I've had people come up to me and say, oh, can I just get one hit? And I feel bad. But then I tell them, dude, it's my medicine. Like, I'm sorry, I can't. And like, that's how RVD, people give me so much shit, you guys. They'll be like, oh, you say medicate, just say you're going to get high. RVD taught me that verbiage, and that verbiage had meaning to me when I started. And so people don't go tell RVD, why do you say medicate? But they go tell me because I'm not fucking RVD. But anyways.
Oh, I get it.
No,
I do get
yeah.
that.
Let me ask you this. So Jimmy and I we can drink some wine, right? I mean, we've had moments where we drank 5 bottles of wine together. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
exaggerating, Jimmy, but we're pretty
No.
straight. But then sometimes I'll have one glass and I am so fucked up. It's I don't. What do you think? It's like the sugar level in your body the day you're drinking the wine. What are you thinking?
It depends what you've eaten also. A lot of things factor into whatever particular night you're doing, whatever you're doing, right, Shell? What do you think about that?
I think so because, like right now, okay, I'm just going to be real right here on your guys' show. And I love it. So I got fat, I carry my weight well, but I got fat. Compare me to my photos from, and I'm not even saying my 20s because people always say you can't be thinking your 20s. Okay, let's go back to my second run in wrestling when I was in my mid 30s there. That's a little, whatever. I could throw down wine. Me and Honky Tonk Man, We threw down that red wine, brothers.
Oh
Okay.
my God.
Oh yeah. Life
Wow.
changing. Yeah, life changing.
Of all
Life
names to throw,
changing.
of all names to throw out there, huh, Mike? Hockey
Little,
Tom.
that's a little surprise, but go ahead, Shell.
Okay,
Yeah.
so anyway. So you know, it's interesting because when I was in that era, I was real, like, especially towards the end, getting hurt by the business. So I was boozing it up more. But I was still maintaining because of my diet, number one. And I was still training 2 times a week, lucha, so that's a lot of calories, and wrestling on the weekends and training in the gym. So that's a lot that I'm still burning off that I wouldn't if I was not doing those things, right? Then when I quit wrestling, I wasn't going to lucha training anymore. I was still going to the gym, but not as much because I was depressed. And I wasn't working on the weekends. And I saw how that caught up, and I wasn't eating clean. And I'm here to tell you guys on your show, the last time, because it's been a journey, I weighed the weight I do right now was in January of 2020. So I'm finally going back to losing that weight and getting back to the Shelly we all know and love. So going to your point, it's interesting that I still can have my wine, but it hits me differently now because I ended up changing my diet. I cleaned up my diet because I said enough is enough. Get your shit together. You can do this and still have balance. And when I did, and like today, I haven't drank in about a week. And I said, I'm going to wait because I'm still in that journey of getting it off. I want to restrict my calories, so I'm going to restrict them. But when I come on the Monte and Pharaoh show, I'm gonna have some red wine, a good Zinfandel. There's this one I like to get. It has I don't even know the name of it. I get it all the time. It has this pinup girl on it, and she has leaves covering her boobs and her vag, and she's holding the Zinfandel. And it's at the liquor store down the street. And I always tell Metal Jesus, go get the one with the girl because it's a little bit more, it's a little pricey.
Right. Yeah.
I go, no, go get the one with the girl. Get the pinup girl.
Mm.
And it's hitting me and it tripped me out because when I was pre-partying, preparing to come on, I was watching the Goonies and I looked and I saw how little I drank and I was like, I feel like I had like 4 glasses of wine already.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Holy shit. I'm down with this, man.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, and I want to say this. Another part of that cocktail. Okay, number 1, I changed my diet. So you're right, Pharaoh, what you're putting in your body that day.
Mm-hmm.
But also, since the last time I hung out with you guys, dude, I'm a different version of me. Like it started this opening up of me understanding myself and rolling with it. So now, not just my diet, but my whole entire energy is completely different. And it's crazy how I feel like I almost had a bottle of wine, but I haven't. This is my second glass, man. And I am down with that.
Damn, me too. Jeez. But you know what, Jimmy? It sucks. I got a producer. I can't get too hammered in my room, right? Because I'll be
Right.
fucking turning the streaming off.
Yeah.
I got to Shelly, I got to tell you, since you were on the show last, I'm so impressed. You are hustling. You hustle. You are out there. You're doing your thing. A lot of credit to you, I got to say. And I do. I want to say this to you too, because Jimmy and I spoke about this. It's hard enough to be a woman in this world and be judged. Men get judged, but not probably quite as hard as women do. But to be an athlete and then be a famous athlete, it must be very stressful, especially hanging on social media, right?
Oh, it's draining. And here's the thing. For me, I know a lot of like social media and the big boom of it is new for a lot of people. Within the last, like, let's say like 5, 6 years, it's really changed, right? So, dude, I've been doing this for so long because when I came back to California after I got the boot from WWE, that's when I was like, I got to go back to my roots. And before I took wrestling like super, super serious to where like I was getting closer to getting looked at and things like that. I had a website. And on that website, I had everything I have right now, like the pictures, the videos. I would have cute little clips I would make with my girlfriends. Like, I'm a big Betty Page fan in that whole genre. So it was like I did the cat fight, like cutesy thing, whatever. And so I pushed pause on that world. And because being a model here in California in the early Southern California, specifically in the early 2000s, a lot of girls were hustling like that. And I always thought it was really cool that they were in control. They were working with the photographers they wanted to, they worked with who they wanted to, and they were making a living. So this is nothing new. It's just now more people can do it because of technology. So that's where my hustle instincts come from, because that instincts of like being a pinup model specifically in that genre back in the day and doing that hustle and trying to have sites, that helped me be a good carny in wrestling. And then when I learned in wrestling how to be a good carny there, that helped me with like being a good content creator hustler. So it's like both those worlds from those different times in my life prepared me for that. So as soon as I got back to California, I was to content creating. I was working with my friends. And yeah, it was different then. Like I wasn't editing myself at that time. I had to have, but I was always friends with people like in film school and things like that, or worked at here and there. So I was lucky enough to collab with people back in the day, and I was making shit happen. And I think I may have mentioned it in your guys' show before, but like I remember when I first went back to wrestling the second time around in my 30s, people would get pissed at me for bringing in my vlog camera, my fun cam, and they'd be like, "Shelly's breaking kayfabe, but she's here with a camera." Like I've been doing this for so like go on my YouTube channel, people, you'll see it. And I've been doing it for so freaking long. And that's what it is. And I feel like I appreciate your words and your guys' energy, because fast forward to nowadays, I'm a tired ass bitch I've been hustling. People don't realize I've been hustling. I remember I wanted to be on Dancing with the Stars back in the day because it inspired me. I rallied up people online to try to, like, I have been hustling, dude, like hustling forever, but it's been like kind of under the radar in the sense of social media just wasn't what it is today. And people weren't realizing this. Twitter was new back then when I was doing all these things, you know? And so, you know what? Shout out to my OG Secret Society and Fun Time Gang members that remember that era and you're still with me. God bless you guys. Like OM to the G, crazy Shelly, right? Anyways, so to me, that's why I go so hard, because I know nothing else. I know nothing else but hustle for your art so that you can pay your bills and make your money and feel, more importantly, fulfilled.
That's a great statement. Let me ask you this. We all know this, right? When you're famous and a lot of different people are famous, and then the shining light goes away, for lack of a better term. Was that very hard to deal with for you? I know you were depressed and everything else. How were you able to recover from that? Are you still recovering from that?
You know, it's interesting because for me, my life pre-wrestling years, I just learned so much surviving here as a model actress in Hollywood and in LA, that wrestling looked real attractive to me in the sense of I felt it's kind of like soap opera. Like you're working every week. It's not for them every week, but on a continual basis, more so than a normal show would. Um, but you could still have a normal life because it's not like you're Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie or somebody. There's only so many people who are that stature. And I was real happy with that. I would, from what the stress and the things I didn't care for that I saw in Hollywood, I thought wrestling was a cool outlet to still do what always was calling to me anyways, still be able to release myself artistically, but still kind of have a normal life. So like none of that stuff ever really bothered me, to be honest with you. And if anything, like after like I got fired from WWE, I kind of was so butthurt about it that like I didn't want people to know I was a wrestler. And for many, many years, I didn't want people like if I met them and like, "Oh, so what do you do?" I always would freeze and I wouldn't know what to say because I don't want to say like, "Oh, I was a wrestler," or this and that. So for me, it's like this really weird thing to where like I feel it didn't really affect me like that because I don't know, like my journey with everything. Maybe if I would have been like a who can I think of? I can't like a Maurice and the Miz type of person, you
Right.
know? I could see like they and I use them as an example because they're all over like whether people realize it or not, they're all over different whatever, right? So like aside from wrestling, they kind of always have had like they had that show. I don't know if they still have it, like whatever, whatever. Like that's different. I feel like if you were to take that away from them, it would be harder for them to adjust. Whereas to
Right.
me, that wasn't my journey. And it's not that I'm better than them or anything like that. That's their journey. My
Mhm.
journey wasn't that. And the way of me going into the business was always like, oh, you can make a living doing what you love, but still have a normal life. And that always was very attractive to me. Like, very, very attractive to me.
I love
So
it.
you've seen what happens sometimes when people are afforded a huge spotlight and they make it, and you bring up having a life. So let me ask you a strange question. Do you think someone like Charlotte Flair has a life because of all the
No.
success?
I don't. I don't. I feel like hold on.
Woo.
I feel like especially these people in wrestling that are names in their own rights now that come from a family name, dude, like that's a whole like they don't know normal life. It's like celebrity kids that go and become musicians successfully or actors successfully. Like they don't know. They can't relate. Me and a Charlotte Flair, I bet you if you got her in a room with me, we probably wouldn't care for each other. Not because of what we don't relate, I feel. I
Hmm.
feel like there's just this energy of not that we'd be like, whatever, but it would just kind of be like we wouldn't like
You're too different.
gratitude to each other.
You're too different. To me, it's like when you say born into a family. Mike, I think of Wolfgang Van Halen. Wonderful musician, but he must live in his own bubble. Let's be real.
Yeah.
Had to. Had to.
Yeah,
You have me, the one that has my story and then she knows nothing else but that.
Mhm.
And
correct.
that's not to take away from what she's put in because she could
No,
have not put anything in and just be like, I'm a flare, but she
she's
put
great.
work in. So I'm not
She's great.
saying
Yeah.
that, like,
Hmm.
at all. I'm just saying it's so polar opposite that they don't attract. And sometimes opposites do attract, but if you're so polar opposite,
It can
there's
be
just
very.
no attraction, period, because there's nothing, whatever. So that's how I feel about it, and I'm fine with it, and that's why I say, like, I'm not trying to pick on, like, The Miz or Maurice, but they just kinda pop in my head because they've done a lot of, like, mainstreamy kinda things that are more of, like, new-ish kinda vibes, you know what I mean?
But again, I think that's also a change of the times, right? When you were wrestling, that hadn't evolved, right? I don't think Total Divas even came out at that point,
Yeah.
right? So things just evolved. I mean, we just had Al Perez on, and his whole career was wrong time, wrong place. So sometimes you're just at the wrong time, right? If you just happen to be in that moment, God knows what could have happened with you. But we've got a lot to talk about. We got to talk about some celebrity deaths, some rock and roll deaths, a little rock and roll, and horror movies and everything else. But I have to ask you about this. So last night I put on SmackDown. I don't watch wrestling always on a regular basis, but I put it on, and Aleister Black and Selena Vega are now a thing, right? They're a married couple, but now they have this whole, you know, for lack of a better term, when I looked at it, I go, oh my God, this is Karrion Cross 2.0. right? With Scarlett, they're doing the exact same gimmick, right? And they got rid of, Cross and everything else. But then I start thinking about you, Shelly, and I'm like, you know what?
Mm-hmm.
This isn't Carrying Cross 2.0.
Mm-hmm.
This is Kevin Thorne and yourself. You guys are the originators of this. And I'm like, they are the OGs of this underworld, scary output. I don't even know how to explain it that well, but
The
and then
presentation.
I started getting mad for you,
Yeah.
Shelly, to be honest with you. I started getting pissed off. I'm like, you know what? There's nothing worse when someone is the originator of something and they're not getting the fucking street cred. Because at first, like I said, I was like, oh, this is Karrion Kross 2.0. Wait a minute. Bullshit.
Yeah. Well, thank you for saying that. I feel people don't realize when I've talked about in the past. Mine and Kevin's look was not the typical WWE look. Now I know there
Oh,
was a
no.
Brood before, but the Brood didn't look like that.
No.
Put that
What-
picture back up.
I'm
Brood
putting it
didn't
up.
look like that.
Much
No.
Brood didn't
different
look like that.
much different presentation. Horror has all sorts of different approaches, as we'll discuss later with the films and stuff. This was a different sort of horror approach from that for sure.
So it's interesting to me because I did a podcast or a show yeah, it's a podcast, Ring the Bell, and shout out to Ring the Bell. He DS over there features all the female wrestling stuff. So when I collaborate with him, I watch the women's matches of today. And it tripped me the F out because I don't watch either, to see so many girls have this like alternative or dark, crazy look. Like, because that just was not a thing. I was an oddity. Kevin was an oddity back in the day.
Alexa
And that's
Bliss.
exactly
Mhm.
oddity. And to be honest with you, treated like that too. I don't know about Kevin, but I was for sure. I was treated because I wasn't blonde and I wasn't like, because here's the thing. I kind of got treated, and then it made me treat myself for a long time like I was the fat one, which is ridiculous because
What?
not 1%.
What? That's
What?
crazy. Crazy.
Yeah. I was treated
Wow.
like I was the fat one, that the one that's not skinny and not blonde. That's how I was treated. And I believed it. I started to believe it, you know? And so we were just the complete opposite of the brand, and it was over.
Yeah.
Because that role needed to be filled, and we were meant to fill that role. And I think it's so cool because, you know, with Kevin having Mordecai, it's kind of like that was his precursor. And for me, my precursor was really working with Aaron and Beth in OVW. You put that Shelly character side by side with Ariel, it's the same damn thing, just a vampire now instead of with Aaron and Beth. So like we kind of had the same story in the sense of like we tapped into these characters already, and then we created a whole new entity together. And like I mentioned on your guys' show before, there was times that we were very much at odds and I would talk crap to him in that ring. I would tell, like, I just think it's so hilarious because I'll see footage and I'm like, I remember that. And just me when he like grabs me all hard and we're like all whatever, looking so sexual. And I'm like, fuck you, you asshole. You are an asshole. Fuck you. Good thing the microphones didn't get it. But the magic we had was we created this entity that no matter, even though I was pissed at him, it didn't affect the entity that Kevin and me created together. So fast forward, and I'm seeing all this stuff play out, and I think it's really awesome. I think it's cool that there's different looks being more accepted and pushed and getting the credit because that audience was always there. Hello, duh. You just
Right.
weren't feeding them. There was always it was there. But then, much like you said, then I get mad. Then I
Yeah.
get mad.
Yeah,
Then I
right.
get mad because I'm just like, that's cool. Especially when I see people like kissing these people's asses, these Ariel and Thorns 0.2, 0.30, the kissing their asses and whatever, and then treated me and Kevin, the originators, like shit. Like that pisses me off. So then that goes to that. And then what pisses me off is people who change their attitude towards me, but are all about those people to where they kayfabe me, can't text me back, and I know you stay at my house, but oh, you're all kissing those people who you popped up's ass. That's cool. So then it goes even deeper. So I appreciate that you got mad for me because I also get mad in 3 different degrees.
Yeah,
How
well,
how, how mad does it get you? Because as you talk about all of this stuff, the sad reality to me as a fan, especially who grew up an ECW fan, you guys could have had the greatest thing in the world. But the way Vince was doing what he was doing to the original ECW brand, in my opinion, he destroyed it. He urinated on it. And that program presentation, my God, it wouldn't have mattered. As great as you guys could have been, Vince. For the fans who built the ECW brand and loved it, that was not the ECW we wanted. Your thing could have very well worked, but not with Vince doing it.
well, I think I have a tougher question. Because I was, Jimmy, you're right. But
It's a
here's the thing.
statement more than anything. I'm
At
just
that
curious if
point,
Shelly feels that way about it, because at the end of the day, I'd be pissed at Vince. But
at
go
that
ahead.
at that point, right? Vampires were a big thing, right? I think
Oh
Twilight was
yeah.
out
Yeah.
at that point. It was
Oh
it
yeah.
was so it was a smart move going that way. And I'm going to
Yes.
say this respectfully, Shelly, and again, you please disagree with me. I felt Kevin wasn't the right guy for the role.
Here's the thing. First, Pharaoh, I have to actually disagree with you.
Okay.
I feel if I didn't bury myself and get in trouble and we
Okay.
stayed,
Yeah.
because Vince told me that I was like nothing they ever had before and I was
Mm-hmm.
doing a really good job.
Mm-hmm.
And he doesn't hand out compliments like that at
No.
all.
No, he
So I
doesn't.
did
No, he
not
doesn't.
take it like he's just being all, "Oh," or he didn't
Right.
never creeped on me.
Right.
He never tried to hook up with me. I don't know
Yeah.
if I should take that as an insult or but
Or is,
he
or
never
is a sigh
tried.
of relief. Or is a sigh of relief.
Oh yeah, yeah. Either way, so just for that, like pointed
Yeah.
the like he wasn't
Right.
coming on to be, oh, we've
Yeah.
never had any like he didn't. He like it was a
Yeah,
very
Shelly, it
spirit.
wasn't my statement wasn't about his faith in you. My statement was about what he had done to the
No,
ECW
no,
brand.
the ECW brand, I agree with you.
Yeah.
But the network sci-fi in the contract, it said they had to have science fiction characters for
Right.
them to
It's
do it.
strange
So
coupling.
that's
Right.
why I came up. So I feel even if ECW died out, they would have, if I didn't get myself in trouble, kept
Mm-hmm.
me and Kevin because of the Twilight thing. It was already working. Um, Vince was very happy with what I was doing. And it was against the grain of the original even though it worked with the crowd, the ECW crowd, because that
Yeah.
ECW crowd, OGs, they
Yeah.
loved me and Kevin. But
Yeah.
still, it wasn't ECW. That's not ECW. So Vince's vision, his clouded vision of ECW or whatever his plan was with it, I was on the side of what he wanted versus keeping it OG. You see what I'm saying? So that's
Mm-hmm.
why I feel we could have progressed. Now, Kevin, there could have been somebody in there that made it. Let's say original Brood member Edge and I got paired together and they said he's a vampire now.
Right.
Yeah.
That would have been on a whole other level. So I can agree
Yeah.
with that. But when I had watched stuff back with Kevin and I in the last few years, Kevin's good. He's good.
It's aging well for you when you go back and watch it. I got you.
And I didn't realize that then.
Okay.
I didn't realize it then. And I understand that I made up, no disrespect to Kevin, most of the act. I understand that. That's why they put valets and managers with dudes, right? That's why they do it.
Yeah.
That's why they do it. Sorry to break it to you people out there,
Yep.
but when people see that someone needs someone to help them get to where they need to be, that's why you have managers and valets, especially if that person doesn't speak on the mic and things like that. That's why. And I'd like to mention my little action figure has me holding a little microphone.
There you go.
So I could see that. I could see that someone else could have elevated it to something else, but dude, that wasn't our journey. Our journey was what we did. And I'm really proud and grateful for the things that we did. And it took me a long time to realize how special it truly was because I was so bitter for so long. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And then when I was in it, because I was mad at Kevin so much at the time, I wasn't appreciating him, you know? I was, now that I think of it, maybe I don't want to say maybe. Okay, let's be real. Okay, maybe real. Hold on. Let me take a drink.
Yeah, take a shot.
A shot.
Oh my gosh,
It's a
I've
bourbon.
never thought of it this way, and so this is the first time I'm even thinking this and saying this. Maybe part of Kevin's problem with me was I knew I was running that act, so I really didn't care about Kevin. So that's why I was over there going, "Fuck you, you asshole," blah blah blah. Even though I had reason to, because he was hurting my feelings backstage, not making me feel seen and heard. I didn't feel he had my back. I felt like at times he didn't even want to work with me. But then there was times, guys, where I remember my license was suspended because of unpaid parking tickets. And so I couldn't rent a car. And I was kind of like orphaned on the road. And Kevin, he's like at this point, I'm pretty sure he was already married because he's been with his wife. He dated her for a long time before they got married. Shout out to Katie. And so he was a married man. And then you guys remember Monty Brown?
No, I don't. I don't remember
Don't
Monte
ring a
Brown.
bell.
He was part of the new breed with us.
Okay.
We were traveling and they let me travel with them. And so then there was moments like that where like Kevin did have my back when when it was at the end of the day. So I just wanted to say that. But as far as how I handled myself, oh my gosh, you guys, right here on your show, I'm realizing I'm sure not just Kevin realized that. I'm sure other people were like, "Oh, she's just walking around." But I wanted us to be cohesive. That's the thing. That was my problem. I wanted us to be cohesive, not because we had to be BFF, but because we could make some good money together.
Right.
Some good money together. And Kevin never tried to sleep with me. He never creeped on me. The times we were getting along, which was a lot of times too. I wasn't always not getting along. That's why I say we're like brother and sister. He gave me good advice. He kept it real. He was very straight shooter. You guys know I like that. So, like, maybe brand wise, yeah, there could have been another guy and we couldn't take it to another level. But behind the scenes, like I needed Kevin. Oh my gosh, I'm just realizing that right now. Holy shit.
An epiphany.
Kevin. Holy shit. I needed Kevin. I needed him. And that's why, let's go deep. That's why I needed him to have my back when Batista got in my face. And I really wish that he would have had my back more. But it's okay. It's okay.
Well, the one thing though, Shelly, if you think about it though, you and Kevin should be proud because you guys are the ones that got this stuff rolling. You're the ones. And you know what? No one can ever take that away from you regardless, right? You are the ones. So.
But it's really annoying in a sense because like I've always been that girl and I don't know why. Like I'm not trying to put myself over. I'm just being real and I'm tipsy. I have always been that girl like all of a sudden, oh, now this girl's over here dressing like me and like copying me. And then enter the content creating era. When I was at the beginning stages of it in the early 2000s, when I was really trying to hustle with it after, my wrestling and during my wrestling and everything, these content creators was still my shit. And then so it's like, I'm always seeing people stealing my shit. And it's like, it sucks because like I get it. At the end of the day, I'm at peace with it because I wouldn't change anything in my life, as we talked about when I was on your show before. If anything, take me off course of sitting right here right now with you guys. I don't want it. But sometimes it's just a little draining when it's like, man, seeing people bank off of copying my shit
Mm-hmm.
and then not even being nice to me. I'm not even saying give me credit. Just be nice to me, bitch. Just be nice to me.
Right.
Gosh. Like,
Listen, yeah, I agree. I totally agree. And listen, again, Jimmy and myself, I'll be straight up honest. Jimmy knows I'm fucking pissed, right? It's like we are a slow crawl in this whole thing. Meanwhile, I see these other fucking shows doing this shit. I'm like, what is going on here? These talentless goons on air, they're talentless. And it's like it drives me crazy. I'm sorry.
and here's the thing. I get shy about talking about this stuff publicly because I'm just like, it's not that I like worried about what people think per se. It's more of the energy behind it. Like, I just don't want to deal with a bunch of people throwing some negative ass energy to me because they think like I'm saying things because I'm thirsty. Oh, and who are you? What's your name? And this and that and the other. And it's like, and it makes me mad because it's like, this is where it makes it extra salty. Is I see. Okay, I'm real old school, and I talked about this on your guys' show before. I was brought up in this business old school, right? So I see a bunch of these old school dudes in wrestling telling their stories, sharing like with no filter, because that's part of paying for the business. So here I am trying to do that, but because I'm a woman saying things, I get looked at, oh, she's just trying to get attention. And who are you? You're just mad because this, and this. And then it's just like, again, it's not that like I'm over here like caring what people think. It's just exhausting feeling people's energy of like the resistance that they throw at me and the vibes that go with it. It's just like too much. And that's why I get shy about it, or I would say reserved about it, is because it's like every time I open my mouth about stuff and how I feel, my experience, it's just like this whole big backlash. And I'm just like, if I was a dude saying this, I'd be treated completely different. And it pisses me off. A dude or someone currently on TV. And it's like, why? Why do I have to be a guy or someone currently on TV to be valid? I've been there. I'm talking from experience still. And I'm sharing my personal time to share with the masses my thoughts because of experience and being there. And then getting the backlash of, and who are you? Oh, you're just bitter. Oh, da 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 da. Da. And I'm just like, ugh, okay, fine. Never mind.
I don't know, man. I think to myself, first of all, you never change people anyway. They're never going to change their mind. Jimmy and I speak about that all the time. And then number two, it's like, this is your reality, right? Everybody's got their reality. And, it's like, this is how you see it, and I don't know. This whole planet's upside down. All right. Go
Mike,
ahead, Jimmy.
I'm sorry, real fast. We've talked many times about how we find it pretty interesting that wrestling itself is a microcosm of society, of life. It's a reflection of it. Of course it is. It's part of
Sure.
it. So earlier, Shelly name dropped the big influence on her career. And the whole point of this whole conversation has been, you're frustrated for her, and isn't she frustrated that her and Kevin were the point of origin of something? Well, she earlier name dropped somebody to me who is a complete legend and is, to me, an ECW equivalent to a WWE comparative I'm going to use. Please stay with me. I'm high, okay? But Marilyn Monroe, who deserves every last accolade she ever earned. Oh my lord, the famous scene where the wind blows up her dress was considered so risque. Joe DiMaggio was horrified when it happened.
He was
But
hot.
she was changing everything.
Joe D was hot.
Joe D was like, well,
Really?
Joe D was a very reserved man.
Mr.
He was like, oh
Coffee?
God, man.
No, I mean like he was mad hot. Like he was.
sorry.
No, at her. Yeah, that's the
No,
story.
he was upset
Sorry.
about it. He was, but I'm going to draw the ECW parallel because at the same time, while she's getting all the attention for this risque maneuver in this movie, Betty Page is ECWing the whole damn scene, blowing it to smithereens. So I find it interesting that credit and success are distributed very differently sometimes. It's just the way it goes sometimes. That's my
Can I
thought.
tell you something?
Yeah.
So I worked with this photographer back in the day before wrestling, and he did this photo set collection of gals here in town that were pinup models, and it was ode to Betty Page. So all of the photos were ode to her. He told me when he showed her the photos I think maybe he made it into a book. Um, she had some really cool things to say about me in my
Damn.
modeling.
Wow.
And that meant so effing much to me. And Vince, that night that he told me that I was different and nothing like they had before, what I've never told anyone before, I'm going to tell you guys. We had a conversation right before that. We were in a conversation. He was walking down the hall. I saw him and I approached him and I said, "Hey, Vince, I have this idea. I want to do Playboy and I want to do it as Betty Page. I want to be in the whole Betty Page vibe, but incorporate the wrestling aspect and like a ring and this and that." And I pitched this whole thing. And he just listened to me and he was looking up. And then that's when he said, "You're nothing like we ever had before. You're doing a great job. We'll talk about it later. I leave that part out." And he walked away. So that night, I went in my hotel room, and at that time, there was a movie called The Notorious Betty Page that was out. And I watched that movie, and I was trying to manifest this whole thing. So for you to say that right now, just like,
It's just like whoop. Unbelievable. Was Vince like almost a father figure to you at some points? Like when you were talking to him, did you have that aura of him that you were just like,
it wasn't a father figure. We were doing business, brother. We're doing
Yeah.
business, and I know how to fucking do business. I know how to do business. And he saw I knew how to do business.
Shelly, they dropped the ball.
It was me. No, here's the thing. Can I tell you something? Okay.
Go ahead.
So let's get ready. Buckle up. Buckle up. So I was on my friend Timmy Baltimore's podcast, Living Ain't Easy. And before we got into it, of course, we're catching up. He's a friend of mine from my OVW days. And then after, much like your guy, it was after your guys' show. So I had your guys, and then like I was bringing up stuff I talked about on your guys' show when I was on and how it was affecting me, the whole 9 yards. So then after doing Timmy's, he added a whole other layer to it. So I was like, oh my gosh, like what is going on? Okay, I'm here for it. So I was sitting right over there. And in the mornings, I wake up at 5 o'clock in the morning. I watch VIP, which is Pamela Anderson's show that she had back in the day. And there was an actor on there and he was clenching his jaw. And so it tripped me out. And I wanted to tell Timmy about it because there was this wrestler that when I saw him clench his jaw once, it stuck with me so much that to that day, when I was sitting over there, from when it happened until that day, whenever I see someone clench their jaw, whenever I clench my jaw, I flash back to this moment. So you guys ready?
Yep.
So when I was last here, I talked about how Ozzy was performing on my last day at work there, how Ozzy's band stayed to see me like perform with Kevin. That's the night I got into the fight with Batista. Until I was reliving that with Timmy when I was telling him about this privately. So there was an incident that happened in catering earlier that day. Now, that incident, there was a wrestler who he was seeing a girl but he was over there sitting with like Diva Search girls, right? And so, like an asshole, my friend was all upset. I said, "Hey, so and so, why don't you come sit over here next to your girlfriend? You know, your girlfriend so and so." And so then later, she's in the bathroom with me. She's crying. She's telling me their worries. I go back to catering. He's talking to Tommy Dreamer. And then I'm like, "Hey, so and so, you know, she's really upset. She's in the bathroom, blah, blah, blah." And he clenches his jaw. And I just remember Dreamer going, "Shelly, just walk away." So I did. Long story short, this person ended up getting in big time trouble later in life that has to do with murder. That's all I'm going to say. And so that's why I was talking to Timmy about it. But then when I flash back, I remembered, okay, so I always tell people before Batista got in my face, some wrestler whispered something to him, right? And then that's when I knew it was on. It was that guy. So Melina went on a podcast that I was on prior to her, and the guy misquoted me. That's why I unfollowed him and said, "Shelly Martinez said this about you," which was a misquote.
It was that fucking kid from England, Jimmy. Go ahead.
Yep, it was. Yep.
Mm.
And I was on board with him. I was on board with him until I saw him misquote me to Melina for clicks. And then, you know what? Saying that to her, that is like triggering. So now you're triggering, misquoting me, and then to trigger for clicks. Fuck that. That's why I followed him. But anyway,
Mike, this I'm sorry, Sean, real fast. This is the prick who stands on his righteous podium and says judges us, correct? This guy across the pond?
James
Yeah.
across the pond. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Go
oh,
ahead, Shelly.
interesting.
guy,
He
the
took
righteous
shit
guy.
about you guys. Oh,
A lot of guys
Oh.
talk shit about us,
Oh,
but
okay.
that's all right. James across the pond.
Okay.
Fuck
James
that
across
guy.
the-
Yeah.
Okay,
What are you
so
doing there, mate?
I saw Melina when I saw this clip. Okay. I saw Melina deflate and she goes, "No, it was this thing with catering." So when I saw that, this was before doing the Timmy Baltimore thing. I was like, what is she talking about? That was so insignificant. It had nothing to do with anything. Like, but then when I talked to Timmy about it, that's when I was like, shit. And Dave Batista said, "Hey, Shelly, last I checked, the thing at catering was none of your business. So why don't you mind your own fucking business?" He was right. What was it? What was it my business? Why was I telling this wrestler over here that was hanging out with diva girls, "Why don't you come sit over here?" Why? Because I know how it feels when no one sticks up for you and everyone in the room knows. That's why I did it. Do I take it back? No. But this is what I wish I did. I wish I would have said when Dave said that, I wish I would have laughed and said, "You know what? You're right. That was none of my fucking business," and then walked away. That would have been so pimp and professional. So now I realize, fellas, WWE didn't fire me because of Batista. They fired me because I was being unprofessional. And now I get it. Fuck.
Wow. It's fucking deep, Shell.
I know. And it
That's so
started
deep.
with your guys' show. Hold on. I lost my hat.
You're no longer a pirate.
I lost my when I was telling Timmy over there sitting on my freaking little couch over there because it was an audio text. I said, "Oh my God, it was none of my business." And then before that, me telling off Shawn Michaels, me telling off Randy Orton. Do I regret it? No. But I could have done it in a more professional way. I still could have stood up for myself
Right.
in a professional way. I could have stood up to myself to Dave Batista, but in a professional way. Do I still think that way WWE handled things, like Johnny Ace telling me you don't talk to top male talent that way, is right? No, but let's go back to the old school. Old school mentality, okay? Dave Batista put in more years. He was my vet. I was disrespecting my vet. That's not old school. That's not what I was taught. I still should have stood up for myself. I'm not saying I shouldn't have, because it was only a matter of time before something blew up. And Timmy reminded me of that. Whether it was that or something else, something, because of the tension between me and Dave, we would have had it out. It was just waiting to happen.
I think Timmy's right, and there's an old saying: you can't fight City Hall. And in this case, those names. Look, it's not like you were fighting with lower. I'm just being realistic. It's not like you were fighting with lower card people. These names were City Hall, and you can't fight City Hall. So you're right. At some point or another, even if you did it the polite way, you're fighting City Hall. You
Yeah, but
cannot fight City Hall.
wait, can I just now? I'll say my piece. I'm
Yeah,
listening to her speak, right, and I'm like, she's totally right. If a lot of times we all react.
right.
Here's my other thing. They are vets. So
Yeah,
they
they are.
see this
There's
young
no doubt.
woman. All right. So they see this young woman who's losing her temper.
Right.
Right. Number
Oh
one, I'm
yeah.
thinking about where's her friends, especially the friend she stood up for. Why isn't the
Oh
friend
no.
just say pull back? Number
Yeah.
two, I would almost think that a Shawn Michaels, a Randy Orton, a Dave Batista would say, Shelly, come here for a second. Pull her in the
Right.
corner and say, hey, you know what? Don't ever
Someone.
disrespect me in front of the group again. You know how it's
Someone.
supposed to be. And I bet you that would have straightened Shelly out right then
I.
and there instead
I.
of
Yeah.
whatever happened before. So
That
I
would have been
don't put all
nice.
the onus on Shelly. I really
No,
don't at
not at
all.
No,
all.
and I don't either. Because here's the thing. One of the things I said when Batista was going off on me, I said, he goes, oh, he got in my face. And I said, honestly, I don't give a shit what you think about me. And that triggered him. And that's when he really got in my face.
Oh boy.
And then I said, a real man would have pulled me aside and chewed me out. Instead, you want to
Mm,
pop the boys? Fuck you.
mm,
Ooh.
That was, I think, my
yeah.
hook,
Yeah.
line, and sinker of the end of my career. But the thing is so you're right. And I did say that. And you know what? It would have been cool if a Dave Batista, if a Randy Orton, if a then Shawn Michaels would have been my vet to put me in place, pull me aside, and tell me what's what.
Mm.
Because I do stand by, a real man would have pulled me aside and chewed me out.
And let's not just forget this, Shelly. You were a true talent, okay, and still are a true talent. But my point is, if they really cared about the business, they would have done that. And let's also the three particular people you're speaking about. Shawn Michaels should have been fired a zillion times. Randy Orton went
Could have
AWOL.
been.
He's done a
Yeah.
million and one things to people, right? And then you got Dave Batista. It's like they're not Boy Scouts. So who better to say, hey, I've been there, done that. But again, just didn't turn out that way, I guess.
That's, first of all, hi kitty kitty. So that's why with Shawn Michaels, I take more issue with him than anyone, because I thought he would be that. And that's my fault. I shouldn't have put that expectation on him. You shouldn't expect people to be a certain way, I guess. But my disappointment and total dislike for Shawn Michaels is the fact that he does have quite the history. And then he goes and says that, like, he found Jesus and
Mm.
turned his ways. So who better to sit me down and be like, even if he was like, look, what you're doing is bullshit. You don't act that way. I would have listened, man. I would have been like, I am so sorry. I wasn't trying to whatever. I would have talked to him. I would have opened up to him. I would have felt like I had a safe environment with him. Like, and I gave him too much credit, because him being so open that, like, he had his coming to Jesus moment, I felt like who better to have a safe space with and whatever. And again, I didn't know the man, so I shouldn't have put him on that pedestal before knowing him. But that's why my dislike and, like, spite towards him comes from, is you, out of everyone that I just named, you you should have been the one to straighten me out. I'm not trying to say it was his responsibility, but, like, I don't know. I'm real bitter about Sean. I'm real bitter about you, Sean.
Hypothetically, if Vince was there, do you think Vince would have pulled you to the side and straightened you out?
Yeah. I think
Yeah.
I think he would have. And then here's the other thing. If he were to chew me out in front of everyone, I think he would have done it in a way that maybe is coming off very aggressive, but I would have received it as, all right, I didn't know. Sorry. My bad.
Right.
I get it. I didn't see it that way. But to be honest with you, I don't know, because then you hear all these stories, but then like I have my experiences with him. Point in case, wearing this, I had this top made in OVW when I was crazy pirate Shelly. And going back to my story of when I went up to Vince and was like, "Hey, put me on Velocity with Paul Burchill." Like, I think that's when my relationship with Vince, like, he knew I was like business. Like, because everyone gave me heat. They were like, "Oh, you don't go up to him and talk to him like that." And I'm like, "Why? I'm going on Velocity tonight. That's exactly what I wanted, was to give him a chance to see what I got. Like, what are you talking about?" Like, so even though my relationship with Vince wasn't like intimate or deep, I think he saw, especially because he's like a businessman and he knows people, he's in show business. He can read people. Vince knew. Vince knew what he was dealing with for the most part with me, I feel. That was the energy. Like, so I do feel, even if people would say, "Oh, Vince would have ripped her asshole apart," like talking like that, blah blah blah. I kind of feel Vince, he would have, but differently than how it went down with Dave, you know what I'm saying? And it would have made me realize, even if it could have been handled better on his end, it would have made me understand what's up and like, oh shit, okay.
It's a really good point, Shell. All right, guys. So last time we were on, we lost the great Ozzy Osbourne. We got two more, and I want to hear both your thoughts on it. The great Ace Frehley from the band Kiss passed away last week. One of the great guitarists of all time. I'm going to let you two weigh in on the great Ace Frehley. I'm really looking forward to hear both your comments.
Space Ace. Space Ace is the center of the universe when you're a 10-year-old kid in 1977. There was very few. My parents were pretty strict about giving me stuff, but I begged them and convinced them to let me be part of the Kiss Army. Ace Frehley was the guy who designed the makeup. It's ironic that years later someone else actually wore his makeup and played fake Frehley. But I digress with that. Ace Frehley was actually underappreciated. His guitar work, as my cat doesn't realize this is live television. There you go, buddy. Um, his guitar work was absolutely stellar. He's one of the all-time great lead guitar players, period. And he was a pretty good songwriter too. When they had those 4 solo albums, his album did the best, and I don't think Gene and Paul expected that either. I never thought he'd get to 74, quite honestly, because he was a real rock star. He lived that way. He was unapologetic, and it was about the art and the love for the art first, and it wasn't really business first for Ace. At the end of the day, he had much different moral values than Gene and Paul, and there's nothing wrong with their moral values either. They obviously turned Kiss into a massive brand success that ultimately was going to keep a divide between Peter and Ace and Gene and Paul's philosophies. But we lost a great legend, and in a different way, it hurts just as much as Ozzy, because I loved Black Sabbath and Ozzy, and I loved Kiss, and it's painful. Shell.
You know, it's crazy because I've dipped my toe in the Gene Simmons pool a time or two. So I know all about that world. Um it's interesting because I relate to the Ace Frehleys, as we were talking about earlier. It kind of goes with it. It's like you have the Gene Simmons and Paul Stanleys that are, and then you have the Ace Frehleys. So it's like I relate to that. And dipping my toe in that world and seeing what's what, much respect. I didn't get it. Like, I didn't get it until you dip your toe. And here's the thing. If you guys could maybe inform me on this. I saw something on Twitter recently where did Gene say something kind of shady about him or something? Because I was seeing some fans were like upset with him and Paul Stanley about something
It's been
regarding him.
it's been going on for years as far as the disagreements between it's really two separate camps. It's Ace and Peter with their organic approach to things, and then there's Gene and Paul, the business model. And it's been going on forever. There's always been accusations that Ace was party first, and Ace didn't admit sometimes it was party first. Like for Destroyer, one of the albums Mike and I grew up listening to, you find out years later that Ace Frehley wasn't on certain tracks because he was busy getting drunk and playing card games. It got to be a line, Mike, where Ace would come to the studio during the recording of Destroyer and go, "How did I sound today?" Because Dick Wagner from Alice Cooper had been called in to play some leads.
Well, Jimmy,
So
to be
there's
fair, Ace was not trustworthy, right? I mean, he just
no,
wasn't.
at the end of the day, but there was reasons for why Ace went extreme with the attitude. In the beginning, that attitude was necessary. Ace Frehley was a spark plug that Kiss needed. They were organically hungry when they first started. The business model wasn't in full effect yet. The hunger to become a success was. And they needed his organic approach to things. When it got to the point where Gene and Paul were now selling the Kiss lunch pail, the Kiss condom, the Kiss casket, Ace was like, Kiss meets Phantom of the Park. The only one who's having fun in that horrible movie is Ace Frehley because he got high and he enjoyed himself. And you can see the rest of them. Gene's trying to act. Did you see that script? You can't act to
Well,
that.
first of all, that was a great movie, so don't destroy that movie. Anyway,
It's a cult classic, but it's so bad it's good. It's one of those, okay? But you know,
all right. So
Ace was one of them.
I also because this conversation will go further, but I also want to discuss Sam Rivers, the bassist from Limp Bizkit, also passed away.
All
And
right, I'll
Shelly,
take
this is
this.
going to be a tough conversation because Jimmy and I had this off air
Yeah,
about a week
yeah,
ago, and it got a
yeah.
little hot. But Shelly, share your
Yeah.
thoughts on Limp Bizkit's
It
Limp Bizkit.
it didn't get hot. You and I had two different shades of opinion on it because you actually like Limp Bizkit, and I said to you, in the late '90s, to me, Creed is basically the last of the whole thing that shifted with Cobain in the early '90s, and we went through where rock was kind of reborn and labeled as grunge. So after that, you get bands like Korn and Slipknot. They get more, there's something about the sound that becomes more mechanical to me. And it also felt the same to me with Limp Bizkit. I don't put them in the same organic vibe as Pearl Jam and Smashing Pumpkins or Green Day or any of these things that were happening from 91 to like 97. All right. Limp Bizkit appears and ruins Woodstock. Okay. I'm not a big, I'm not a big, I'm
Woodstock.
I'm not a big fan of Fred Durst. I don't get it. However, I did make an exception, and we talked about this when I heard Chester. I was like, "Oh my God, he's great." Linkin Park. I made an exception for the changing of the sound, the new metal, and the mixing rap sometimes, and I accepted it in Linkin Park's case because Chester is organic.
Disturbed, Linkin Park,
Yeah, great
POD,
voice.
Limp Bizkit.
Limp
Okay,
Bizkit's
it was
yeah,
a
not for me.
transition to I call it angry rock, which by the
Yes.
way is
Yeah.
incredible music.
Yeah.
I
No,
put
it's
Limp
not.
Bizkit very high on my list, but Shelly, let's
Right.
hear what you got to say.
Yeah.
I see both your points, both of them, and I relate to both of them. But like, dude, did you? But like, okay, so when what was Limp Bizkit's first single that came out? Their mainstream one.
Might have
Well,
been
what was it? Just one of those days or something like
no,
that?
it could have been Chocolate Starfish, right? I think maybe.
Chocolate starfish.
Seriously,
What
I'm
was
not
it?
kidding.
But what was their single that made them?
Let me see.
Let's see what their single is because
That's what
it's
I'm
on
gonna
that
do.
album. But anyways, I get what you're saying, Pharaoh.
Right.
But like, you got people like Papa Roach and Disturbed. Here's the thing, me and
Right.
my friends back in the
Right.
day, we made up a rumor that Disturbed, that his dad was Phil Collins. I swear to God, if you
Yeah,
put them both side by side,
that's funny.
dad, and then you listen to him and then
Yeah.
Phil Collins,
Yeah.
telling you, I think we're
Yikes.
on to something. So I enjoyed Stained. Oh, like,
Mm-hmm.
come on. Like, yes,
Mm-hmm.
it's a
Mm-hmm.
vibe. And I feel it does kind of mesh the different, like, I feel like, okay, those dudes, they were influenced by all these people from like the
That's
the
true.
90s, the 80s.
That's
So
true.
their
That's
music,
true.
and then music evolved and there was different genres that like really became more
It was
mainstream.
it was a
So that's why you get
logical.
the rap, because
It,
then all of a sudden rap becomes a little bit more mainstream back in the day. And so then you have these kids growing up and you're hearing it, because I'm that person. I'm that person. I
right.
love hard rock. I love rap. I love jazz. I
Right.
love techno. I love classic rock. Like, I love almost I love country. Like, I love so many different musics, but like, aside from the country, those other ones, they're all like in that era. If you're of a certain age group, you like, that's the good stuff, the meat, the
Right.
good music. So
Mm-hmm.
when you got your band going, and then you connect with other people that vibe on that level, you feel that you got the Kid Rocks, that Kid Rock. I love Kid Rock too. It's
Mm-hmm.
like, let's not talk about politics, people. Don't come. Like, the music, like, it was at a different level, because I feel you just had dudes of that era that were a certain age that were able to pull from so much good music that you just don't hear anymore. And Limp Bizkit, sorry, Pharaoh, I feel they fall into it. But I feel there was a time where it was too commercial and it fell off for me. But that album that has their first single, oh, Faith! Gotta have faith.
Yes, 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 yes,
Yes,
yes.
that album, that album.
Ooh,
I
ooh, ooh,
remember
ooh.
little Shelly
Oh boy.
Martinez, whatever year that was. I was like, what,
Wait.
18, 19 years old,
Yeah.
driving my white Camaro T-top 6 speed, not a 5 speed. And I drove manual 6 speed, and I would have my T-tops down, and I had that album, and I thought all the songs were just going to be sounding kind of like Faith, which is still a good cover.
Right.
I didn't know. It's kind of like Sugar Ray, that album that I just want to fly. That's like the only song that sounds like that.
Yeah,
The
yeah.
only song that sounds like that
My
until they
God,
went commercial.
they played that like every 2 seconds on the radio. I
But
wanted to
I,
drive into a curb.
but if you listen to the rest of, just like Limp Bizkit, you listen to
Right.
the rest of
Yes.
their albums of that
Right.
album that
Right.
made their single like to
Right.
where they went on the map.
Yeah.
Those albums sound like none of their other albums.
Right.
Yeah.
None of
Right.
their other albums.
Look, at the end of the day, it's really all about what your tastes are in music. My problem is that I was raised with classical music first as a small kid. I actually was playing concerts at colleges when I was like about 10 years old. I'm in a suit playing Brahms and Beethoven, stuff like that. Grew up on the Beatles, Led Zeppelin. When I look at this music translated to composition paper, all I'm saying is it's really your taste. And I was raised on that sort of thing. So, like, Bohemian Rhapsody, for example, on paper. And then you take Limp Bizkit and put it on paper. I'm sorry, game over. But that's me, just
Yeah, but
from a
you know what, dude?
composer.
But I would take Limp
Yeah.
Bizkit way over Queen any day.
Wow.
I'm being
Not me.
100% honest.
No
That's
way.
it.
Not me. I'm just saying, every to each his own, I guess is what I'm saying.
Shelly,
Okay, so
can you
if I had a
go
ticket to
ahead?
go to Queen or to Limp Bizkit, who am I
Oh,
going
please.
to?
You're
Oh,
going to Limp
please.
Bizkit, Shelly. I know you
You're
are.
out of
Don't
your
I'm
even.
going to
It's not.
Limp
mind.
You're
Bizkit.
going to Limp Bizkit. It's
This
not.
is
It's not
awful.
even close. It's not
Two,
even a.
two
No,
It's
but
not
here's
even a
the
pieces of
thing.
fight.
Here's the
nation
thing.
right now are like Pharaoh. We're with you, Pharaoh. No, no, no.
Much like Ozzy, okay? Whenever I've wanted to quit in whatever I'm trying to pursue, like literally, I'm like, you know what? Maybe this just isn't for me. Um, Queen does come on, like how Ozzy haunts me.
Right.
And it's Dream On, the Dream On song, to where one time Aaron Stevens and I were in Walmart in Louisville, Kentucky at like past midnight. No one was there. And the music that was playing was Dream On, Aerosmith. And then I had told Aaron, well, before the song came on, I told Aaron, you know what? I'm just going to quit. I don't think they have anything for me. I'm just going to quit. Like, I'm going to go back to California. This was like, I was at OVW. They broke me, Aaron and Beth up. I was like, I just don't think wrestling's for me. I think this isn't my calling. And then what happened? Dream On came on. And I know that's not Queen. So
It's Aerosmith. It's Aerosmith. I wasn't going to cut you off.
That was the Queen. So there you go. I go to Limp Bizkit. It wasn't Queen at all.
Wow.
It wasn't Queen at all.
Wow.
Shelly, I got to ask you though, what was the first song you remember that got you into music?
I don't know, but can I say this so I can give Queen at least their props because I just fucked up because I'm on Zinfandel.
If you feel bad, you feel bad.
Yeah, I feel bad.
You're
You know
feeling
why?
bad for Queen right now.
I'm feeling bad for Queen because I remember I was a little girl and my dad had on KLOS that I still listen to this day. Shout out to KLOS, even though you've changed, whatever. And when you hear the "We Will Rock You" from Queen, transition to "We Are the Champions," I remember, like, when you said, "What's the first like thing?" Like, I'm not saying that's the first at all, but that's a moment that I do remember clicking with music. I was a little ass girl. I don't know what the hell's going on,
Right.
but I was listening. You got blood on your face, you big disgrace. What? And then it caught my attention. And I just remember being real quiet. And that's when I became like a lyric person, probably. Like,
Wait a minute, Shelly. I could have wrote that song. Come on. Blood on your face, big disgrace.
But it doesn't matter.
Kicking your can all over the place.
It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. I felt it. I felt it. And that's what music is.
It's the
It makes you
conviction of Freddie
feel.
Mercury's voice. It's the conviction of Freddie Mercury's voice.
Yes. The way he feel. I didn't know that then, but when I can look back now, being who I am now, that's what it was. Because I remember being mesmerized. I remember just being like, wow, like that was a little girl. So hearing that someone, blood on your face, you big disgrace, like that was like deep. Like
Mike, I don't get it, Mike. Why on earth, and I know that you appreciate the entertainment factor in everything that you love, why on earth would you decide that you don't want to see Freddie Mercury, who has a crowd, hundreds of thousands of people, and then everybody goes, the guy's unbelievable. You got this performance, you got this singing, you got these classic songs, and you want to go see the guy who ruined Woodstock.
I'll explain it to you, Jimmy. It's really simple, right?
He ruined Woodstock.
Certain music, when it comes on, you feel it not just in your soul, but like through your bones, in your muscles, and you're just like, so Limp Bizkit, Disturbed. I mean, Jimmy. I'm telling you what, a Disturbed song comes on, you want to rip a wall down and eat people alive, right?
But the
that's right.
The voice of the man in Disturbed is in the stratosphere of a Freddie Mercury for the type of music that man's voice is unbelievable. Do not tell me Freddie Durst's voice is unbelievable. But I will say this in defense of Limp Bizkit. I got to get this in. There are a couple of songs that make me want to break stuff. That's good. So there's that.
More importantly, Shelly, let me hear your disturbed lines.
Dude, first of all, when on Disturbed, when can you feel that?
Yes.
Oh shit! Oh my god! As a woman, I'm like, oh yes, I feel it. Yes, I feel it. Disturbed, come here, baby. I feel it. Yes. And then he goes, oh shit! Oh god! I love it. He takes you in, and then when you watch him perform, he's like, like. It gets into it at the edge. And look, Freddie, he does too, But here's the thing. You know what the difference is? Okay. Freddie Mercury and little Freddie Durst. Okay. So Freddie Mercury, he is a great entertainer. He's an amazing singer, an amazing composer. Hello.
Yeah.
And amazing at performing.
Yeah, he's
Not
everything.
everyone could do all those three things.
He's everything.
And like he's everything. He's the package, right?
Mhm.
And I understand little Freddie Durst maybe that has a song like he doesn't sing and that has that gift.
Right.
But because he doesn't, little Freddie Mercury
Is a master.
he kind of has a little
He's
snootiness to him about little Freddie Durst because whereas you take Fred Durst, I feel he'd be like, man, you sing like the shit. You're awesome, man. Like, come on stage with me, man. Like, let's go. And like that energy where that's what makes me lean more towards Limp Bizkit because the energy behind it, maybe he can't sing like Freddie Mercury.
Right.
But Freddie Mercury would be like, oh, darling, you can't even kick a tune with me. Oh, and he would try to upshow him. Whereas Freddie Durst would be like, let's go on stage together and let's do it, man. Because Freddie Durst is already loves the little bitch that Freddie Mercury is, and he loves it. You go now how he does his tours as the dad tour or whatever. He loves that shit. He loves it. He doesn't take himself serious. Freddie Mercury took himself too serious, and that's what the difference is between the two with me. And that's why my energy would lean towards more of the Limp Bizkit because like I said, I would cry at a Queen concert. I'll tell you that. I'll cry. I'll be up there crying with him. He's he dances, he sings, he's the soul of the band. He is the soul of the band. But so is Freddie Durst. Those guys are nothing without him.
No, that's true. That's true.
And maybe because of my age and what Limp Bizkit was for me and that time, it triggers to me that girl.
Right.
And what I was going through and how Limp Bizkit to me allowed me to go, fuck you. Fuck you. Whatever. Come here then.
Well, I understand, but Mike was not a little boy when Limp Bizkit came out. So it's like, okay, Mike, the guy who played me the Who for the first time.
So Jimmy, if you're gonna ask me who is the more hold on, if you're gonna ask me who the more talented band is or the musicians are, it's Queen. It's Queen, of course. But if you're gonna ask me who I want to listen to and be entertained by, it's Limp Bizkit all day.
Can I tie something bizarre in? Because we've talked about this in the past. Here's what I want to say positive about Durst. Freddie Durst's magic was his own capability to recognize, I'm not Freddie Mercury. And we talked about my favorite vocalist of all time, Jim Morrison. You're not as big a fan on Jim, but I explained to you what Jim was able to do. He wasn't Robert Plant. Just the same way Freddie is not Freddie Mercury. These guys had higher ranges, more horizons to explore with their voices. But like Morrison, he's nothing like him except for this one key fact. Freddie Durst was able to recognize what are my vocal capabilities, and if I stay in that box, can I come across as larger than life? And the answer was yes.
Very good. Well done.
You know how I feel the same way about? Because I feel the same way about Morrison. And I have a group, there's a very small group of musicians' voice that's just, I have to be careful when I listen to them because I don't know if it opens up something. It's weird. And one of them is Morrison, but right next to him, why don't you guys hear this? What your thoughts are is Serge Tankian from System of the Down.
Oh, yeah. I will tell you, I'm a big fan of System too. But again, limited singer, but unique sound. So
he's very unique.
See, but again, that energy, like you're saying, Pharaoh, like that, like maybe Jim Morrison wasn't a Robert Plant, like you said,
right?
But there was this thing, and I feel I had to be careful with the Doors because of that. he channels something. He opens up
Yes, he
something in me.
does.
Yeah, but
Well,
the other thing too, he was more Morrison to me was a stage man too, good looking guy with he was almost Jimmy Shelley. He was almost a rapper in a lot of ways. You know what I'm saying?
I
He
could see
Mike,
that.
spoke his music just like David Lee Roth spoke his music, right?
yeah, but the difference is, and I think Shelly's going to catch this when I say this because she said she's got to be careful when she listens to the Doors. Jim Morrison, and I grew up on the Beatles, and I fell in love with Kiss, and I had heard Dream On, I'd heard all the classics and stuff, but Jim Morrison was the first voice in rock who could, who somehow whispered in my ear. Right, Shelly? Something
This is the
about him.
end, my only
he
friend. The
he goes
end.
to a deep, for some people, Mike, it may sound silly to you, I don't know, but for some reason he opens up, and his whole concept was the doors, opening the doors of perception. This guy could get deep into your own head if you let him, and he knew how to stir that soup. This man was brilliant
Listen,
at that.
just like pro wrestling, music has its time where things change and evolve, and as we get older we're less receptive to change. Now I'll be fair to say this, music nowadays I won't listen to it, it's just
It's
fucking awful. I'm
please,
sorry, Shelly, I don't know
yeah,
if you like it. I
no, I
can't
can't,
listen.
I can't
But
do it. Yeah.
I certainly can kind of, now again, there's some good stuff out there, like, you know what I mean? There is some stuff, but you got to really
Here
look
and there.
for it now. That's the issue. All right, guys, I'm going to jump into Halloween special horror movies.
Wow.
I need to know what, Shelly, Jimmy, what got you into horror movies? What was the first time you saw a movie that all of a sudden I want to watch a horror movie?
My father was very educational when it came to horror films with me. He made a point to start me right at the beginning. He took me to a film festival in the 70s in Jersey where I got to into films. I got to see Nosferatu. I got to see John Barrymore play Dr. Jekyll and Mr. Hyde. I got to see Lon Chaney Sr. play the Hunchback of Notre Dame and the Phantom of the Opera. So he started me off with that. And then, of course, was the exposure to the Universal films of the 1930s, Bela Lugosi, Boris Karloff, Frankenstein, Dracula, The Mummy. Here comes Chaney's son with the Wolfman in 1941. So you have that. You go to the 50s, and color comes into play with Hammer horror. Christopher Lee, Peter Cushing. We see blood for the first time in color on the screen. The 60s, Alfred Hitchcock. Here comes the slasher, at least the prototype, sort of, with Norman Bates. Horror becomes possession. The Exorcist turns the world upside down in the 70s. You got Texas Chainsaw, you got Halloween, oh my God. And then Freddie, Michael, Jason. My father made sure to put this all in a row for me. And the sad reality for me is up to 2000, and Shelley will probably hopefully be able to help me. After 2000, I fall away from a lot of the stuff. But up till 2000, you could ask me anything. I love horror. Shell?
I am right there with you. You know, for me, I just I grew up in a very sheltered world, so my whole escape has always been television, movies, and when I was stuck at home all the time, I would watch these shows and I would catch these old, like the Universal, old flicks and all the things that you just mentioned. I'm like, yes, yes, and yes,
Mm.
because that to me, I grew up in this super strict Christian household. I was on lockdown 24/7. If I wasn't at church or at school, I had to be at home. So my only way to not only escape, but kind of experience life was through the damn TV. And I just remember watching these old films and just being so taken back because they were so the opposite of what was being brainwashed into me of the no, 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 no. And I liked it, you know? And for me, here's the thing, people, because of my vampireness, think I'm like so into horror and all this, but I'm more, when you put it on paper, it's more about I like thrillers. I like a good thriller. And when people say, "What's your favorite horror movie?" I always say the original Psycho, because it is. But that movie, from when I was a little ass girl and the first time I saw it till today, it makes me uncomfortable. It gives me times where I have anxiety, even though I've seen it a gazillion times, because it gets in your head. And that's when that was what hooked me on what I thought was just a horror genre, was this thriller aspect. But then at the same time, I love a good campy horror. It's so bad, it's good movie. So then when I got a little bit older, there he is.
Oh boy!
I wouldn't hurt a
Wow.
fly.
Mm.
Mother, and then I have mother issues too. So there's that
Well,
parallel as well.
Shelly, real fast. The thing that separated Psycho from the previous horror movies in general up to that point, everything was very supernatural. If you think about it, with the vampires and the Frankenstein's and the Wolfmans and the Draculas and all that good stuff. And here comes something that actually could happen. You could pull up to a motel in the middle of nowhere, and this he's a psycho. This was bordering on. Wait a minute, this could happen. So I digress, but that changed everything.
But
You're
again,
right.
if I could jump in, it was an OG movie.
Yes,
Like, it was a first of its kind.
it was.
Go ahead, Shelly.
You just hit the nail on the head. That's why it's my favorite since I was a girl and I saw it, because it became real, just like Birds did. Hitchcock and his films, man. I became such a huge fan because these are things that could happen. It's weird. Like, let's say Birds happened in real life. It's weird, but it could happen.
But Shelly, can I ask you one quick question though? I was a huge Birds guy too, and I tell this to Jimmy, when I used to go to wrestling matches when I was younger. I used to go to the Garden all the time. And, me and Jimmy were fans growing up together. And I love those matches. Oh, my God. They were in my soul. And when the WWE Network came out and I put them on, I said, oh, my God, this is the worst shit I've ever seen in my life. Right? So,
Mikey, are you saying that the Bird special effects are not holding up for you?
It is so fucking bad. I can't watch the movie anymore. It's been ruined. It's been ruined, Shelly. I'm sorry to say this.
I can see that, but for me, it becomes a comical relief of the stress that I feel of this could happen, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
You know what's another one? Have you guys seen the movie The Car?
No, The Car.
Yes.
Oh my God. Why is that car so demonic? It bothers me. What the fuck is wrong with you, car?
If I'm going to watch a film about a car, I'm going to watch Christine, John Carpenter's masterpiece.
That's a good one too. Christine is really good, but The Car.
Fantastic. The car
Look at
was
that.
messed up. Yeah.
Look at those graphics, Shelly.
It's fine. I'm fine with it. It's fake. It's phony. I love it. I'm here for it.
Yeah, but
it doesn't take me out though. It doesn't take me out.
Let's be fair to it though. In 1963, that was the shit. Okay,
it was. It was.
You got to be, because at the time that was a big deal. So
don't be a hater, Monty.
I'm sorry, but And listen, I'm going to say something about Christine. Christine, for the first 45 minutes, is a really good movie, and then it just goes to the shits. It's just like, you know what? I ran out of script, so let me just have the car drive around and kill people. It was just bad.
I disagree. It's a slow evolution of the damn car takes him over, and I think it's a wonderful movie. You're wrong. Go there.
Man, I haven't seen it for a while now, but
excellent
I
film.
love Christine. I gotta revisit it.
It ages very well, that film.
Shelly, I'm very disappointed you haven't brought up The Lost Boys, because I tell you what, that movie still holds to this day.
1000%. Hello, that's what made me a vampire. As soon as I saw it, would it come out 85, right?
Yeah, why? Yeah, 85.
85. I became a vampire in 1980. There he is. Look at him.
Look at that vampire. That's a scary vampire right there.
What about Fright Night, Mike?
Fright Night, great movie, man.
Come on now.
The original, not the remake. The remake.
I've never seen it.
You've never seen Fright Night?
You would think I would. Even I think I would. But here's the thing. Don't hate on me, because I hate when people are like, oh my gosh. Because here's the thing. I feel whether it's music or movies or TV shows, you see it when you're supposed to see it. When you're ready for it.
I get that.
And like, it's not that I'm against it. It just never has happened.
Oddly enough, when you mention that, and I'm sure you guys will remember this, for the first time this week, I finally got around to seeing the original Phantasm from 1979. That's a great film. I don't know if you guys have seen it,
I
No,
have
but
not.
I have
it,
not.
it it's a cult classic. I remember when it came out, but I've never gotten around to watching it. And like Shelly just said, I guess I was meant to watch it this week, and it's wonderful. I was like, wow,
Have you guys seen the more recent one? It's like about a podcaster that tries to suck your blood like through the computer.
What?
Yeah, there's like a scene from it right there.
Holy crap!
You
That
gotta
could
check it
happen.
out. Yeah, it
That could
could.
that
happen.
is that based off a Stephen King novel, Michael?
Yeah.
Okay, just checking.
What's that supposed to mean? What's that supposed to mean?
Wait a minute. I gotta ask you guys this. What about the classic horror movies like Wolfman and Frankenstein and
What
Oh
about?
Dracula?
yeah, all day
What about?
long.
What about? What do you want to know?
What do you think? What
What
are you
do I
guys thinking?
think? Well, okay. Well, in 1931, you get Dracula and Frankenstein both come out in the same year. The great James Whale directing Frankenstein, and I believe it was the great Todd Browning who later on did Freaks, a really crazy movie from the 30s. Um, Oddly enough, Dracula was originally meant to be for Lon Chaney Sr., as we look at his son, Lon Chaney Jr., who became the Wolfman in 1941. Lon Chaney Sr. was intended to be Dracula, but unfortunately, and it's ironic that the greatest horror film star of the 1920s, the silent era, developed throat cancer in 1930 and couldn't take the role of Dracula. So along comes this Hungarian who cannot speak any English, doesn't understand it, let me put it that way, but knows how to pronunciate the words and gets the part, does not understand English, but knows how to say the words because he was a stage actor.
Wow.
And it's Bela Lugosi because he had done the play on Broadway when he came to America as an immigrant. He had done the play and he didn't understand the language, but he understood how to say the words. And that's why Dracula to this day is always referred to
But I,
with
I want
the
I
way
want to
he
ask you
talks,
guys this though, and Shelley, like I was watching Interview with a Vampire, right? And vampires,
The movie.
I was thinking about this, like the attraction to women to vampires, right? Is like it's almost a sexual attraction, and then they end up
Right.
sucking their blood and killing them.
Mhm.
The one thing I didn't like about the original Dracula, I didn't find Lugosi as an attractive
He wasn't
vampire.
he wasn't shopped that way. That doesn't really start to come into the forefront. I mean, if you're really going to dissect Dracula in film, Christopher Lee himself wasn't exactly. He was actually fairly vicious as Dracula too. What happens is during the 70s, Dracula has a renaissance on Broadway, and an actor named Frank Langella plays Dracula. And they have a 1979 film that came out that he is Dracula in it. That's where Dracula starts to become in film more romantic, and it spirals into a decade plus later with Gary Oldman's portrayal, where Dracula is shown to be very human and very romantic and has a love theme going on. And then eventually you get Twilight and that kind of stuff, and forget about it. Now women are completely. But Interview with a Vampire, Mike, is the movie that I think was the blueprint for chicks in general. Because I worked in the collectible business when that movie came out. I cannot tell you how many females were coming into the store to look for the Interview with the Vampire posters, the
Well,
comic books.
it's a
You know,
very sexual movie,
it
and
is.
it really relays the point where these women are so sexually wanting these guys,
Right,
and
right,
and eventually they get you know
right,
killed, right?
right,
What do you
right.
think, Shelley?
It's interesting. Quiet. It's interesting because hearing your thoughts as a woman when I'm watching Bela Lugosi, maybe it's not like watching Interview with a Vampire, right?
Right.
Mm.
But he does draw me in.
He's
It's
very
like all those
mesmerizing.
dudes that I shouldn't be dating in my dating history,
He's
you know?
very
Like
mesmerizing.
it's
He
like
is. He is.
it's like he knows how to get the
You're,
girl hypnotized. He knows
he
how to
does.
work her.
Yeah.
And even though it's not like this whole obvious whatever, as a woman watching it, I get pulled into the storyline because I can see how the woman gets mesmerized by him
Mm.
because it's this like aura. And I I get what you're saying about how like there was like the shift, and that's where it went more of a romanticized way, more sexualized way. So maybe when I watched Bela Lugosi, I'm not like it's not over sexualized, but he got me.
Hmm.
He does.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
There's also the basic physical act of a vampire biting a woman on the neck. I mean, come on, that's sensual to begin with.
it
You know?
is, but it's interesting because I just never really thought of it, but it's like I get quiet when he's on screen, and it's not like I'm like all hot and bothered, but there's like this thing that happens where like I'm putting myself in the girl's like mind,
Mm.
and like I get it. And like how charming he is to like the men. Oh, like when he like when there's different ones where he's like, oh, blah blah blah, and he's like kayfabing. Like that is a vampire. 1000%. He's the OG.
He is.
But
He is.
let me ask you this then: that why do people, right? Like Frankenstein, he kills the little girl. You know,
Hmm.
Lugosi's, Wolfman's killing people. Freddy Krueger's killing people. Michael Myers is hacking people up. Why do you feel like they become heroes instead of you wanting them to die?
That's a great question. I think that it's the way it's presented over the years. Like you mentioned and that scene was cut out, I do believe, and eventually restored, where Frankenstein throws the little girl into the pond.
Mm,
Frankenstein never wanted to be created at all. You could see how sad he is. Boris Karloff does an amazing job of portraying confusion and sadness in the monster. Why am I alive? What is going on? How did I get here? And he doesn't even know how to speak. And he befriends a little girl. He's looking for love. It's very sad when you think about it. This monster is looking for a friend. And when the little girl throws the lily pad in, the lily pad floats. Frankenstein has the mind of a child. He thought that the child would float. These are things that build sympathy. Sympathy. It's the situation. Michael Myers on the surface is a horrible killer, but there's been plenty of times in his movies where he kills a real asshole, and I'm like, good for you, Mike. That guy was a
well,
dick.
yeah, because eventually you find an asshole in the pile. I mean,
Right.
come on.
Right. So it depends. You also we live vicariously through these fantasies. Deep down, maybe some of us do want to go and hack somebody up. I don't know.
You know,
You know.
something I think of on that way of thinking, do you guys like the Leprechaun movies?
I
Sure.
like the first one, then the sequels. I'm just like,
Yeah,
okay.
Oh, dude,
they're
I
both
love
good.
them. I love them. In the hood, back in the hood, all of it. The space one, all of it. I love it. But here's the
And
thing.
Jason X.
You're right in the sense of how it's presented, because in the case of the leprechaun, he's doing all these horrible, horrible, horrible things to people. But dude, all he said is he wanted his effing gold, and these people steal his gold. They know it's not theirs. They don't leave it alone. So like you have certain characters where like you're saying with like the Frankenstein's monster, it's like he didn't he didn't turn out to be this person. He was created. He wasn't asked. Like he doesn't know what's going on. So you
Hmm.
have these characters, and there he is. A friend with wings is a friend indeed.
Oh God, I hate that.
So,
Nice.
anyways, the I catch myself whenever I'm watching Leprechaun and he's doing ugly things to people out loud, even whether I'm by myself or I'm with somebody. I'm like, all he wants is his gold. That's it. That's it. He like no. And then because I start to be like all he wants is his gold and people are just like not listening, he starts to have fun with it. And then that's when I'm like, I like how he's like happy about it. He's laughing and he's just like, ah, and then he's killing people. And then normally I think that if it was just a random killing people and laughing, I wouldn't be kind of for the leprechaun. But because there's this narrative of he just wants his damn gold, people, and you're messing with his gold. Give him his gold.
And just and
His,
then the movie's over, right?
Historically, when a horror film, many times it's been shown, and when it's done correctly, it shows at the end of the day that the monster himself wasn't the true monster, people were. King Kong is minding his own effing business. They come to his island, and what do? They drug him up and they take him away and they
Dude,
throw him in the middle of a
big
concrete
difference
jungle.
between King Kong and Michael Myers. King Kong, you feel bad for,
No,
right?
Michael Myers is a complete psycho. But however, Lawrence Talbot, the Wolfman, becomes bitten when he's trying to save somebody else's life. He thinks he's just trying to stop a wolf attack, but instead he winds up stuck with this curse. He's one of the most tragic, sympathetic figures.
Lesson learned: don't help people. Right there. You see how quick that is?
Right.
Just don't help them.
Right. So Dracula would have been like, I'm out here.
Let me ask you, what is your favorite? All right, I'm going to share my favorite scene in a horror movie that I thought is so incredible, and tell me what your favorite scene is. Mine is the one from Nightmare on Elm Street when he's killing the girl and she's going all across the ceiling and getting hacked up. And the guy's looking at her and she's just getting stabbed to death all around the room. I love that.
Well, real quick before you guys answer your favorite scenes, I think the greatest line Freddie ever dropped was when he had that bitch in front of the television, and he looked at her and he said, "Welcome to primetime, bitch," and he pulled her face into the screen. That was a pretty great line from Nightmare on Elm Street 3.
What is your guys' favorite horror scene?
You know, going back to my favorite horror movie is Psycho.
I knew it.
Nothing beats that scene where he goes after her in the shower.
Oof.
And here's the thing. Years ago, I was in this contest called Miss Horror Fest. And one of the things that we had to do was recreate our favorite horror movie, but make our own spin. And I totally recreated that. So I stand by that. I think, and then here's the thing. To this day, I get a little sketched out when I take a shower, even here at home, especially if I'm at a hotel. And there was this time when I was in ECW, and there was a whole situation where I was at this hotel. I was with Kelly. We were also traveling with Test, CM Punk, Sabu, Kevin Thorne, and there was one other person. I can't remember who it was. And when we went into the mine and Kelly's room, there was like all this trash, like it hadn't been cleaned up, and then Kelly was like bitching about it. And at this point, it's like she was very new to the business. I think she was like 18. I don't know. And so she was like new to life, new to the business. And I was just like, okay, she's like, whatever. Okay, let her be grossed out. Like, I've been in worse. And then she goes into the bathroom. She's like, oh my gosh, Shelly. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I'm like, what is it? I go in there. In the bathtub, this thick was a stream of blood. Went out to the floor, went out to the carpet, and stopped at the door. And so we freak out. We go to the front desk. We complain about it. And the guy's like, oh, no one's been in there for days. That's weird. Well, I'll put you in a couple doors down. Well, at the time, Kelly was secretly hooking up with Test and using me as the patsy. So she goes and sneaks off to go be with him. I'm in that room all night that's like 2 doors down from where we were at, freaked out the whole time, going, oh my gosh, it's going to happen. I got no sleep, TV to tape the next day. I was so pissed at her for leaving me by myself. And then in the morning when we went to like leave, I saw that the door had that little like latch thingy. So it was kind of open. So I went in there. They didn't even clean it up. And I was like, oh, this is so creepy. So not only is that my favorite scene, not only has that traumatized me, not only has that stuck with me my entire freaking life, but I had that situation happen over there on the road. And I was like, dude, it can happen. So that's why too real.
It's creepy. Let me ask you, since you brought a Test up, were you shocked about his demise?
No, none of it. And it's so sad. By yourself. And I remember there were like, oh, a pizza, and like he was like, had a pizza delivered, and I get it because I mean they declared it an overdose, right?
Yes.
Okay. Mm-hmm. So my suspicion, sorry, the wine. I suspect that it was probably Soma's, because in wrestling, the old cocktail is You take your somas and you eat carbs because the carbs kick in the somas. I know this because I used to be a soma head. So
Right.
no judgment, been there. And so the pizza, and that's what I would do when I knew I had an off day and I was going to soma it up and just check out of reality and just whatever. Got to order a pizza, get my carb on. So that's why it makes me extra sad. But no, I wasn't shocked at all. And it's really fucking sad.
You know, first of all, I want to thank you again for spending a Saturday night with us. You are quite the talented person, and me and Jimmy are just huge fans of yours. You're just an incredible human being, and I want to ask you this last question. Chris Benoit, were you shocked about the Chris Benoit situation?
Are you kidding me right now? Can I tell you something? I was trying to take a nap earlier, and what made me not take a nap is I was thinking about the Benoit thing. You are tripping me out right now. Is it like an anniversary or something? Like, what's
No,
going on?
no, I
Why?
just
Why is this like I
because
literally
I was thinking about you, and I was thinking about all the people that you knew, and to be quite honest with you, you seem very, very in tune and a very caring type of person, and I'm like, this person is such a caring person. I don't know how she stayed in the wrestling industry with all these deaths and these drug problems, and you know, you got to be kind of hard, I think, to be a wrestler with all this shit going on. And like Jimmy had said earlier on in the show, this microcosm, your family, and you see all these people pass away, and no judgment, right? People get hooked on things. Sometimes it's a party life. Sometimes it just gets out of control. And I was just thinking, I never asked her what she thought about the situation.
you are freaking me the F out because, like I said, 2 o'clock California time, I was like, I'm just gonna lay down for like a half hour. And I couldn't rest because I started thinking first it started with woman. I was thinking of woman.
Mm.
And then that's when I started thinking of Benoit. And then when I thought about his son, I started having a panic attack. And it effed me up. So here's the thing. It's crazy because, let's talk about Benoit before this happened, right? Very respected. So for me, the fact that he would like talk to me and go out of his way and not be creepy or anything like that, just like normal, interested in like, oh, who's this girl? That meant a lot to me. It's freaking Chris Benoit. Freaking Chris Benoit wants to know who I am and what makes me tick. Like, awesome. I'll never forget one time we were in Mexico and I went in the hotel gym to work out and he was there and he introduced me to American Ninja Warrior. So anytime I see it, I think about him. So it's so crazy because when everything happened and it came out and it was public, the first thing I thought of was his kid. Because I remember being backstage and he had his kid there a couple times. And he seemed like he loved that kid so much. Like, so like, I don't know, man. How do you do that? And that's what kept me up in my bed like hours ago. It's like, how do you do that? Like, I saw with my own eyes the dynamic, but then that happened. And then I thought, like, I know that they say it's the whole like CT, what is it?
CTE.
Yeah, CTE. But like then I thought, was he like on drugs and like I don't know, like I just don't know. And it made me feel so freaking sick. And then I started thinking of woman. I'm like, it was not just the kid, it was also her too. So like what happened in that heaven house? Like what happened. And I don't think we'll ever know. I don't think we're ever meant to know, because whatever happened there has to just, I hate to say it, die with them. But the thing that makes me feel so disgusted is the kid. And I saw with my own eyes the kid. It wasn't like, oh, the kid was backstage and he was kind of like resentful towards it. Like, it was opposite. It seemed like I don't know what their story was with having the kid, but like it seemed like the kid was like a special being to him. Like, there was light there. So how does that happen? I don't know, man. I don't know. It's so effing crazy you bring this up.
Well, Shelly, I want to thank you again, and thank you for all you do for us. You're an incredible human being. Jimmy, want to hit it with the Pharaoh's final question and send us out?
Sure, why not? Real quick though, Mike, you didn't ask me what I thought was the greatest scene in the history of horror films. But
hold on, let me ask you, Jimmy,
yeah,
what was the greatest scene in horror films?
Yeah, it's funny that you asked me that, Mike. But well, to me, real fast. I mean, after all, this is the Halloween special, and unfortunately, sadly enough, Chris Benoit did his own real life Halloween thing there. I just think he was a psycho, and we just didn't know. They say watch out for the quiet ones. I'll sum it up that way. I feel that the most important to me it's one of the most important things that ever happened in horror occurred in 1978, because up to that point the monster was always extinguished for the most part, and the good guy, survived and everything was fine. But when Donald Pleasance fires 6 rounds into Michael Myers and he blows off the balcony, and Jamie Curtis asks, "Was that the boogeyman?" And he says, "I believe it was." And he leans out to look down because he had shot him off the balcony, and Michael is gone. And the music hits, that incredible theme from Halloween hits, and the movie ends. What do you mean? He's alive? That never ever happened in horror up to that point. I mean, even Norman Bates was sent to the cuckoo farm. I mean, they always got away. With the good guy got away, was alive, but not in this case. The bad guy disappeared. And that was, to me, very important because it set up all the sequels. And with Michael's success, it opens the door for Friday the 13th, slasher. Here comes all that franchise. And then Freddy. So it was basically the greatest Asian horror since the 30s, when you think about it, with Michael, Freddy, and Jason in the 80s running around doing for horror at the box office, what Bella, Boris, and Cheney Jr. were doing in the 30s and 40s. But okay, final question, and you've been a great guest. Thank you very much, Shell. Who would you say rank for me the 3 greatest vampires in the Hollywood film history in order, from 3 down to 1? Who are the 3 greatest Draculas? This gets interesting.
Man.
There's so many.
Why would you
That's
do this
all.
to me?
Well, hey, it was it was the Pharaoh's final question. I mean, I'll give you my answer. I mean, you may agree or disagree, but from 3 down, 3 might surprise people, but I feel that Gary Oldman's portrayal was actually incredible in Coppola's Dracula. Uh, it's probably the most faithful to the original novel, and it's a very complex Dracula. Christopher Lee is the obvious to me number 2, and of course Bella. But I'm not sure where you stand with vampires. You may throw me a curveball and tell me that the vampire in Van Helsing, which was a great movie, could be the vampire.
No.
Hey, he was good.
He was good, but not the best. Jeez, man. That Gary Oldman, like, he really, especially because my age when that movie came out.
Hmm.
But then you got Bella, and then
Gangrel. Just kidding.
and then even though he wasn't a Dracula, you got Kiefer Sutherland as David on Lost Boys. Like he was
Mm,
really good because
okay.
he
So you want to
befriended
just make it
Michael.
the three best vampire? Your three favorite. Do your three favorite.
And but you know who else? Not movies, TV. Good vampire. Maybe you guys will disagree. On Buffy the Vampire Slayer, Spike. Do you guys know Spike from
Okay.
Buffy? He was really
Well,
good.
Buffy was groundbreaking television show for horror.
Like
So
he was really good. I know everyone was supposed to be about Angel, but F him. It's all about Spike. He was a good
yeah.
vampire.
There's grandmas
Um,
out there, great grandmas that are yelling Barnabas Collins right now from Dark Shadows. So
um, I guess I'll go with that. My three. Let's see. Okay, you know what? Because here's the thing. I don't know where to place. There he is. See, he's so
oh, he was
good.
great.
He's
Oh, he
so
was. Yeah,
good.
he was.
He was
He was.
so good. Because here's the thing. All of the dudes I mentioned make it believable. That's the thing. They make it so believable and they are likable. They're so charming and believable that you want to like them. And that's what being a vampire is because that's how you get your. And then, even though I have my personal feelings about Tom Cruise, he was a good Lestat. Like, he was
Mhm.
good. And he was, that's how you be a vampire. Oh gosh, and then Antonio Banderas in there was a good vampire too.
Uh-oh. She's got too many choices, Mike.
But you know what?
She's got
Because
too
here's the thing. It's too many because they all portrayed vampires in very different ways
right,
that are all the common denominator, very
right,
believable,
right.
likable,
Yeah.
and that's how they get you. Look at those two lovers.
Hey, by the way, guys, I got to tell you, if you have a chance, there's a movie that just came out about a few months ago called Sinners. It's on HBO. Great
Okay.
vampire movie. Unbelievable.
Nice. Hey, what about the vampire from Salem's Lot, Mike, back in the day?
Well, that creeped me out, man. That movie creeps me out. That kid
That
at the
was a great.
window scratching to come in.
Oh,
Oh, I
forget
can't.
it.
Oh.
That's if you haven't seen Salem's Lot from 1979, Shelley, I strongly recommend
How
that.
about
That
how
is
about
Is
Dust
that the
fantastic.
Dust
one with is William
David
Shatner in that?
Soul.
Oh,
It's
okay.
David Soul.
No, William Shatner's in this really weird
let
movie that I
let
won't watch again.
let me bite you, Shelly.
No, it's not a vampire. Now they think it's not a vampire. I think it's more of a Illuminati movie. But like, he was in this movie back in the day. I can't remember what it was called. I never want to watch it again. Too real. Too real.
Mm,
How about Dusk to Dawn? Dusk to Dawn, right?
Oh
that was
yeah.
great.
It's a
Oh my
That's a great
badass
god.
one.
movie.
That's a
Badass
good
That's
movie.
a great one.
movie.
That's a
Oh
great
my
movie. But
gosh.
you know what though? We can all, I'm sure, at least I think we can all agree that at the end of the day, there's a Babe Ruth of Draculas. There's a Hulk Hogan of Draculas. There's a prototype of Draculas, and that man's name was Bela Lugosi,
I think
and that's
you're
that.
right. That's that.
And
Even
that's that.
though,
You know.
what about Once Bitten with Dick Cage?
Oh my god, I
What,
love that movie. It's such a
Mike?
good movie.
How could we not mention George
Such a good movie.
Hamilton? Love it. George Hamilton, Love at First Bite.
Another good movie.
That's a
Oh
comedy,
my
but
gosh.
I do not
Yeah.
drink wine, and I do not smoke shit.
And then, guys, have you guys seen Blackula?
Yes, of
Of course.
course.
That's a good one
Oh my
too.
God,
That's a
that's
good one too.
Blackula is a
canceled.
great movie.
There's so see that the
Canceled.
point is there's so many
There are.
because they
There
all
are.
have different interpretations and they're
Right.
all so good. That's what it
Agreed.
is. Go watch your vampire movies out there, people. You're missing out.
All right. Shelly, thank you again. You're incredible. Jimmy, you want to send us out?
Absolutely. Happy Halloween, folks. Although, Mike, I think we'll be back one more time before Halloween. But you've been watching the Monte and the Pharaoh Halloween special with the awesome Shelly Martinez.
Incredible.
And until next time. Boo.
Couple things I want to cover, Jimmy.
Yeah.
500 level has now improved on the M&P code. Now go to MP30 for 30% off. Jimmy, I got to tell you something, right? I was at the beach again, 500 level. If you guys haven't looked at the shirts, right, go to the website. It's incredible. And I got to be honest, right? So it was a little chilly today. I brought the dogs to the beach. I was off work for the Jewish holidays,
today.
right?
It's cold.
It wasn't cold,
Yeah.
but I have from 500 level, I have a Roman Reigns sweatshirt. Now, usually sweatshirts are not always the nicest fabric, unless I'm into really nice fabric because I just don't like things up against my skin. So usually I'll get thinner type of shirts, but this is a heavy sweatshirt. The fabric, unbelievable. And you're going to get a deal at 30% off, Jimmy. I mean, my God, it's a no-brainer, guys. I am telling you, once you get one shirt from them, you'll get 50. I guarantee it. And they've got all the sports. Yeah, dude, tell me what you think of it, Jimmy.
They're so comfortable. I got to get a long sleeve now. I'm telling you, I got to, because it was chilly today, especially for a guy who's been in Panama City Beach the last 2 years. It was chilly today, and I love the material. It's so silky. Is that the right word for it? I don't know.
No, absolutely. Absolutely, dude.
It's so comfortable. So, yeah, I got to get myself some leveled long sleeves. That's for sure. 30%.
And again, it doesn't, they got plenty of wrestling stuff. They got baseball stuff. They've got football. They got everything, dude. MMA. They got it all, man. And I'm telling you, it's very high quality. Again, 500 level code MP30, 30% off. So if a t-shirt costs you $20, what's 30% off on $20, dude?
It's enough. 10 plus another 20% tacked on top. Not much. It's a steal. It's a steal.
I agree. I want to remind everybody too, the Monte The Pharaoh show, hit the QR code, be willing to check out our shows on YouTube, where we got almost 24,000 subscribers. Go to our Facebook page where we're approaching 27,000 subscribers. And again, if you feel like donating to the show, please go to the Monte The Pharaoh webpage, hit donate. Helps us bring in more guests. Trying to entertain Jim. We've got the big event coming up, so a lot of good stuff happening.